The Mercedes G Wagon is an absolute beast. It's available with 2 different gas powertrains, and then there's this, the fully electrified version, which is incredibly capable, but it does come with an eye-watering price. And in this video, you're going to learn everything you need to know about the G Wagon. The one in behind me here, as I mentioned, is the electrified version, and it's in the manufacturer Opalite white mango exterior, and it has the silver pearl with the black Napa leather interior. So the combination does look good to me, and I have been getting compliments on this car the entire time that I've had it so far. My neighbors absolutely love it, and there's nothing quite like that feeling that you get being inside of one of these vehicles. You're gonna find the G Wagon with an all-wheel drive setup. That's what Mercedes is known for. So you get excellent handling inside of this vehicle, whether you're on pavement or if you're off pavement, so you're going off-road. But the responsiveness of the vehicle is there, considering the size of it. Plenty responsive. I like that you've got all of the different G options there too. So if you are going off pavement, you've got that G turn, etc. Let's do a little 180 here. Oh yeah. Look at that, without using G-turn or G-spin. And then back up to speed. Oh, I love the power in this car. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, the power is there, the handling is absolutely there. Like I said, whether you're on pavement or off pavement, you would not be disappointed either way inside of a G-Wagon. Oh, that's nice. It has a 250 millimeter ground clearance and an 850 max water fording depth, which is incredibly impressive, especially considering this is an electric. This is the Edition 1 package inside of the G Wagon, which means you have pretty much every feature you can imagine inside of the vehicle. It's got unique blue calipers, AMG styling all around, and then a pretty useful little box in the back that I'll point out in just a second. There are 20-inch wheels that you're going to find across every trim level inside of the vehicle with different styles that are available. But these blacked out AMG style with this white paint, it just works so incredibly well together. The front end styling of the G Wagon is excellent. How else can you put it outside of that? There are LED headlamps inside the vehicle with fogs available too, and then your top mounted turn signals. So using these lights, it looks so good during the daytime, but incredible at nighttime. And there's a lot of technology that you're going to find inside of the G Wagon too. There's a forward park sensing system, a front-facing camera, and this car also has park assist, so it can help out with perpendicular and parallel parking. The parallel park, especially with something this big, absolutely useful. And one neat thing about that front-facing camera is that when you're going off pavement, there's an available kind of like ghosted mode where you can see essentially what's going on underneath, which again, useful if you're going off pavement. Underneath the hood of the G Wagon, there are 3 different powertrains that are available. It's either going to be a 3-liter turbo, there's the 4-liter bi-turbo in the AMG line, and then there's this, which is the electrified version instead. This has the most power. You're looking at a combined output of 579 horsepower and 859 pound-feet of torque. It is an absolute blast. And got to get back up to highway speed here, but I'm going to go into sport mode, show off some of this insanity, and we'll go in 3, 2, and... Oh my God, this is so good. That is so incredibly good. The power that you get out of this thing is incredible. Now, obviously one of the downsides of what I just did there is that if you gun it, you're that type of person where you've got a heavier foot, you are going to use more power if you're an electrified version. And even in the gas versions of the G Wagon 2, you are going to use more gas up in comparison, but you got to have a little bit of fun every now and again. And that is an absolute blast. It's just one of the benefits of all the power that you're going to get inside of this vehicle. Oh, I love it. Since this is the electrified version, lifting up this little cover, there's no front space available whatsoever. They've essentially made it look more like a traditional internal combustion engine. And then you can top up your wiper fluid along the right-hand side. And really, that's one of the minor things you're going to have to do from a maintenance perspective. If you're the type of person where the light turns green and you gun it, you're probably going to chew through rubber a little bit more. but the electrified version has regenerative braking capabilities, so those pads should be good. Then you've got a solid manufacturer's warranty with the option of increasing that warranty at time of purchase if you want that extra peace of mind. The G Wagon has power folding side view mirrors that have turn signals built in. There's that side mounted camera. There's also a puddle light too that looks really good at nighttime. They're auto dimming, heated, and there's also a blind spot monitoring system there. Getting into the G Wagon, you've got this little button there, so you've got to give it a good push in order to hop inside. You've got the running board available there too, just in case you're a bit on the shorter side. But the buttons here are going to be the same across the lineup. So you've got your basic controls here for your side view mirrors, your windows, kill off power to the rear windows, with the option for ventilated seats there too. So you're at least going to have heated seats, ventilated optional. All of your seat controls are here with driver seat memory. There's an 18-speaker Burmester audio system inside of the G Wagon, which sounds incredible. And then that beautiful carbon fiber with some blue highlights throughout, and that goes beautifully with that blue stitching. So a little bit of door storage there, another speaker, and then you've got your basic pedals with the rubberized floor liners. The seat inside of the G Wagon, oh, it's incredibly comfortable. Could use maybe a little bit more cushion in the headrest, but I mean, outside of that, this is really, really nice. Like, I really understand why people like this car so much. Oh, I like it. A few different style seats for the interior as well. Napa seats are there. The color schemes are pretty neat, especially when you look at this first edition, or edition 1, I should say. I mean, that's just beautiful. Looking at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the G Wagon. This is the electric version of the G Wagon, so you've got different gauges along that side compared to the internal combustion counterpart. But outside of that, all the different steering wheel buttons and most of the cluster will be the same. So let's dive in and I'll show you what you need to know. First thing I'm going to point out is that the steering wheel inside the vehicle is heated, and it's also going to be power telescoping. You've got this stock along the outside, so if you twist it away from you, that's going to turn your heated steering wheel on. If you twist it towards you, that'll turn your heated steering wheel off. Then you can also use that same stock in order to be able to adjust your steering wheel. So forwards, backwards, up and down in order to find that perfect position for you. Once you find it, I then want you to set up your driver's seat here. So you can move the seat forwards, backwards, up or down by lifting it up or down. You can use this upper one here in order to adjust out the leg cushion. So if you wanted that leg cushion in or out, you can do that. You've got this one to adjust out the backrest, and then this one for the head cushion. Once you've got that set up your side view mirrors the way that you'd like to. So left versus right side, so it has to be highlighted for you to adjust. Once you've got all of that set up, you're going to tap M, and then either 1, 2, or 3 for it to remember your own personal profile. So if there are multiple people driving, just push when you hop in order to recenter it back onto you. And then so many different buttons and stocks. So start off along the left-hand side there. So you've got your wipers, so you can adjust out what's going on with your variable wiper speed there as well. And then you can also toggle on your rear wiper from there. You can just do a push there if you want to get a single wipe, or push and hold if you wanted to get the wiper fluid going. To get the rear wiper fluid going, you're going to twist either all the way down or all the way up instead. The little control panel here is pretty simple. So you've got your electronic parking brake. You're going to push in order to turn that parking brake on. You're going to push and hold the brake pedal and then pull out in order to turn it off. And then you've got all your different light controls here too, but the big ones here are going to be auto and then over one level. So with auto, what's going to happen with your high beams? If the vehicle recognizes that they're needed, it turns them on automatically. If somebody's oncoming, it turns them off before turning them right back on again. But if you wanted to permanently lock your high beams out, go into the main mode there, so your headlamp mode. You can then push away to turn those high beams on, pull towards you in order to turn them off. It's just that when you're in the auto mode, the vehicle is going to determine when those high beams are needed, turn them on or off as necessary. You've got fog lamps, which you can control those, so toggle those on or off. And then there's also your dimmer switch, so you'll be able to adjust out the brightness of the cluster screen. Stick along the right-hand side is going to be for your shifter. So brake in, you can go up in order to put yourself into reverse with that beautiful 360 camera. Move in or out all the way around you as necessary. Drop down lightly to get yourself into neutral, or D to get yourself into drive, and then a button on the tip of that right stick in order to put yourself back into park. From there, you've got a bunch of different buttons, but the one along the left-hand side here, these are going to be for cruise control. There's only a single type of cruise inside of this vehicle, and that's going to be the adaptive cruise control system. So you set it at, let's say, 80. If the car in front of you slows down, yours will automatically brake. They change lanes, you change lanes, it'll pick you back up to your previously set speed. But setting it up, you toggle it on this way, and once it's on, you can see inside of the cluster screen that it's on there. When it's on, you then push up or down in order to set your speed. You could then slide your finger up or slide your finger down to increase, decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time. You can click up or click down if you'd like to increase, decrease at larger increments. You can hit the brake to cancel your speed. You can hit the cancel button there to cancel your speed, and then you push resume in order to resume your previously set speed again, or toggle the system off completely. With the adaptive cruise system, you've also got this button, and that's a gap adjustment. That's how close or far are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you. I want you to think of that like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi for how close or far you are away. I'm personally okay level 1 most of the time, but maybe you want to be on level 2, 3, or 4, just depending on your own personal comfort level. So if we go to our assistant screen here, see that? You've got all of your different distances. That is going to be based off of the current speed that you're traveling though. The upper buttons here are going to be to move through the cluster screen. So you've got a home view, and then you can also adjust this out, which I'll touch on in a second there. And then the buttons along this side, the one along the very bottom is going to be a favorites button. So you can tap that in order to get to your favorites screen. You can set this up. You can add different favorites in. So rather than kind of moving through the screen, if you've got a few things that you normally do, like listen to individual stations, you want your massage chair seat to come up, etc., you can add in additional options here for everything, which is great. So you can do that. There's a voice command prompt too, so you can either tap this or say, "Hey Mercedes,
how can I help?"
in order to launch into your Mercedes Assistant. Once the assistant's active, you'll be able to navigate using your voice. You can adjust climate using your voice as well. It's a beautiful system. Then you've also got your little rocker there, so up and down this way to adjust your volume. You can push down the middle, or I should say the bottom there, in order to mute out your audio, or slide your finger up or down to increase or decrease your volume from there. You can answer or hang up on a phone call. And then you've got these buttons in order to move through the infotainment system. So if you wanted to swipe across, go to different things, you can push in the middle in order for it to act as an OK button as well. Inside of the cluster screen, you can see your speedometer along the left-hand side. And since this is the electric, you can see how charged up you are along the very bottom, along with 2 individual numbers there. So max is if you didn't have any climate going, if you didn't have any USB devices plugged in, 12 volts, etc., that's going to be the max range that you can get based off of 59% charged. Versus this one is going to be based off of all of your conditions. That's how far you're going to get. You can see your current time, vehicle's ready to drive, and then you've also got your outside temperature with your regenerative braking levels. So the vehicle does have paddles, but they're not paddle shifters. So when you're in drive and actually driving, you can change this up to 4 different levels. Actually, let's try that right now. So we're in drive, there we go. So you've got maximum recuperation versus strong, normal, or no recuperation. The difference there, no recuperation means you essentially take your foot off the accelerator pedal and you just keep on going. So it's like it's propelling you forward. Versus as we go into our normal recuperation, you take your foot off the accelerator pedal and the vehicle is going to start gradually slowing down. So it's regenerative braking. Regenerative strong or regenerative extra strong. So you take your foot off the accelerator pedal. It's how fast or slow does the vehicle slow down using regenerative braking. You've got whatever current drive mode that you're in. So when you're in the individual mode, you then have the flexibility of being able to customize it. So you've got different options here for your drive. Do you want it to be comfort versus sport? Suspension, do you want it to be sporty or trail oriented? And then you've got your steering. So comfort versus sport. Comfort, I want you to think of that like it being a loosey-goosey steering wheel versus sport is going to stiffen things up. So that's going to be for your individual drive mode. But I mean, you see there that you've got a number of different modes that are available that all have their different benefits, pluses, etc. But you'll be in the comfort mode the majority of the time. Sport mode if you want the best possible performance in the vehicle, or your own individual mode there instead. Since this is the electric version, I want you to think of this gauge like a traditional tachometer to a degree. So you put your foot down and it's how much power are you actively using. And again, since this is the electric, along the very bottom, this is going to be your recuperation gauge. So regenerative braking, how much charge are you able to recuperate as you go? You can see your current road speed along the top, whether or not the driver is plugged in, etc., your current speed, along with your driving system. So you've got your lane following system. The car is not self-driving, but with that system enabled, it's beautiful because it's going to take you around bends perfectly. So as long as it recognizes the lane markings, that'll go green, and this will also go green. The difference, this one is a following system. So if your hands are off the wheel, it's going to keep you perfectly balanced, versus this one, if the vehicle recognizes those lane markings, it's a keeping system. So if you start to veer over into another lane without signaling, it'll nudge you back into your lane. Even with this one, you can keep your hands off the wheel for up to 10 seconds before you get a message in the cluster. So it's not a self-driving car, it's not self-driving functionality. It's essentially an assist system just in case you lose focus for a second, so it can follow around a bend perfectly. And then as you've got your cruise control setting turned on, enabled, etc., you've got different icons that are going to pop up there. And then you've got your buttons along this side that I was pointing out. So you've got your home icon along the top, and that's going to give you the flexibility of swiping across in order to get to some different modes. Sport mode, just look at that. Absolutely beautiful the way that that looks. And then you've got your classic view. If you wanted a full mapping cluster, that's available there too. You can button push in order to get to a driving assistance view. There's an off-road component to this too, so you can see what's going on with your vehicle pitch and roll. You can see your steering angle, things like that. So if you are going off pavement, this is a very useful screen to have pulled up. And then you've got your service information in order to see what's going on. So all of your tire pressures there, if there are any warning messages and things like that. So it's pretty simple. There is a fully digital owner's manual that you can search for in the infotainment system too if you get weird messages popping up. But you're probably going to be in classic the majority of the time. So on this classic screen, you're then swiping up and down to get to different subpages. So you've got your current odometer there, along with your current range that you've gotten since the vehicle was last started, from the last time that you reset, your eco driving, so how good has your driving been, total range, so how far are you able to get based off of the current vehicle range, your current consumption level. So this will look different if you're in the regular gas version, but the button set's going to be basically the same. Attention assist, so you can actually toggle that off in the infotainment system, but if you start to veer over too many times without signaling, looking drowsy, etc., eventually it's going to tell you that you should probably take a break. There's your media available there too, so if you have USB plugged in, if you're listening to radio, things like that, you can see what you're currently listening to, and then your little mapping cluster. So you've either got that full mapping cluster or the little one there instead. This is the infotainment system that you're going to find inside of the Mercedes G Wagon. This is the electric version, which is why you've got this EQ setting here. But if you were in the regular gas version, all of the other features are going to be the same. Now, one thing you might notice is that I move around the infotainment system without actually touching anything. And there are two reasons why. So just underneath the infotainment system here, you've got this big trackpad that's going to let you move around by going left and right. You can tap if you'd like to. There's a back button, some seek buttons, and home button. And then along the sides here, you've got some different button presses to get to a few things. So it's essentially like a little quick launch tray. Back home again. So if you see me moving around the infotainment system without touching anything, that's the reason why. Along the top side, you've got your home button there. Here, you can swipe down in order to get to some quick launches. So these are your favorites where you can add in additional favorites. So if you wanted to add in an individual station, you'd have that flexibility. So let's say if you're a big fan, nice local station, 94.9. Now you've got that as one of your favorites. So you've got the flexibility of adding in a bunch of different things, turning on your massage seats, massage driver, passenger, etc. You've got that available now, and you can keep on adding in additional favorites if you'd like to. So now if you were to tap into any of the favorites, it's going to launch you right into that setting. And I got to say, first off, this 360 camera, beautifully done, Mercedes. That looks good. You can do a button push to get to your front camera, rear cameras, side cameras, which is useful if you're going off pavement. There's the off-road cockpit mode there too, which I'll dive into a little bit later. So if you're taking your G Wagon off pavement, that's available for you as an option too. Back there, you've got your current connection along with the time on top of that. You can tap here in order to be able to select different user profiles. So multiple profiles are available. One of the benefits of having multiple profiles set up is that if you've got different people in the vehicle, you'd be able to do things like set up all of your routes, phones that have been connected, presets and things like that to lock it into each individual person. You can do a generic search here too, so you can search for navigation, entertainment, etc., or the operator's manual. So if you wanted to know different things about charge times, etc., you'd have that flexibility, or you can hop back into your favorites there. You've got the EQ settings that are available. So this one here, your different programs available, so home or work. So if you tend to charge up at home, at work, etc., you'd be able to set different things up. So hold on, if we select it, edit, you can save it in from there, and then you'd be able to set up individual things specifically for charging at home, charging at work, etc. I'll show you how this works as we dive a little bit deeper. There are all of your available departure times. You can select what's going on with the climate for the first row seats, second row seats, your air quality, but more importantly, your pre-entry climate. So essentially your preconditioned schedule. You can have it preconditioned never, once, weekly as well. And then you can tap here in order to have the settings activate when you unlock the vehicle, or is it only the driver's seat set up? But look at the week profile, because if you have a tendency to leave the same time Monday to Friday, maybe you're out at 8 o'clock in the morning, Monday to Friday, you can set up a preconditioning schedule. And the benefit of having this schedule set up is that rather than the vehicle drawing power from the battery as you're driving, you can precondition the cabin. So you hop inside 8 o'clock in the morning, it's gonna be nice and cool, nice and warm for you as well. You'd have the flexibility of setting multiple departure times up. So now with your profile set up, what do you want your climate to be like? Your first row seats, second row seats, your air quality, things like that during that departure window. So Monday to Friday at 8 a.m., your climate is going to be set to this for the first, for the second row, etc. Then you saw there, you've got the flexibility of being able to select and set up multiple departure times. So if you have a tendency to leave at work at 5 o'clock p.m., you can set that up. You want to set up weekend schedules and things like that. So rather than, again, drawing power from the car unnecessarily, you're drawing it from the wall. You can see what's going on with your battery levels there too, and you can select how much you're going to be charging. So general rule of thumb, you want to keep it at around 80% unless you're using the charge the next day or the next day or two. So you're charging up to 100% there. And the reason why you want to do that is you're essentially just protecting the integrity of the battery to get the best possible life you can. With your range, you can see what's going on here. So climate is using a good amount of range as of right now. So you can essentially restrict different functions as you drive. So if you want to get the best possible economy, things like that, you'd have the flexibility of being able to set these up. Then you can also see what's going on with your consumption. So within the last 30 minutes, 90 minutes, etc., how much power have you actively been using? You could tap this right there in order to jump into your range and your different settings there. So essentially just like quick buttons, which you can see across all of the available icons here. You do have factory navigation inside of this vehicle, and factory nav is incredibly easy to use. You can use your voice in order to be able to search for addresses if you want to. You can hop in and look at all of your previously searched for addresses. You can set up a home or a work address. And one of the benefits of having either a home or a work address set up is that you'd be able to say, hey, Mercedes, or you'd also be able to tap the voice command prompt.
What can I do for you?
And you could say navigate home, navigate to work, etc., and it would navigate to whatever addresses you have saved there. You can search for different point of interest icons if you want to. You can search by GPS coordinates, so latitude first, longitude second. You can start searching as you go here. Just give it a second in order to populate. And you've got different options that are available here. So if we just select one random one there, you can see if there are different routes that are available. So if you had you can see there are a few different routes that you could go. You can select any of these available routes, and then you can just tap start from there. So you tap start, and it's got a route actively going. You can tap this in order to see all of the directions you need to take. Do you want to get notifications? Yay, nay. So you'd have the flexibility to be able to mute this out as well. You can tap in order to be able to minimize that display again. There are full pinch to zoom capabilities available here too. From there, you can tap this in order to see all of your different route options. You can look at alternative routes if they were available. You can search for more addresses. So maybe you also wanted to stop at, I don't know, maybe charging station. So we've got different charging stations available here. So if we just grab a random one, it's going a little bit further away. You could then either add it in as your next destination, or you can replace it or look at a wider area. But if we just add, we've now got both stops along the way. If you tap here again, you've got both options that are available here. And then if you wanted to, you could also adjust this route out. So all you're going to do, push and hold, and then you can drag around. So maybe now you want to grab coffee before you charge up. You can go whichever way you'd like to there. Pretty simple. You can see alternative routes if there were charging stations along the route as you go, which is actually useful because if you're going on a longer distance trip, the vehicle, when you use factory nav, is automatically going to take those stops into account as necessary in order to charge yourself up. You can manually set them up yourself, look at different parking options that are available, and then if you wanted to, you can just delete one of those destinations that you set up. You can see what your end condition is going to be, so your end charge on top of that. And obviously if you weren't in the electric, that just wouldn't be there. You can tap here in order to look at different options for your route. So do you want to plan your charging stops automatically? You've got a range monitor. You can check to see what your range is going to be at the end destination. Alternate routes if they were available. You can avoid highways, toll roads, carpool lanes, and things like that. You can view different things on the route too. So do you want to view your satellite map? Do you want to look at weather, traffic, if there are accidents, things like that? And so many options. Your point of interest icons. Do you want to show them on the map? Yes or no? Your map color scheme. Do you want it to be locked into the day or the night mode? As you see there, it goes a little bit dark. Automatic means it's going to change between the day or the night mode, just depending on how bright it is outside. Different messages are available there too, or you can continue searching for more routes if you'd like to, and back again, or exit in order to cancel that route. And then if you wanted to go back to an address that you've previously selected, you're just going to tap, let's go, and you're set to go. So it's really easy using factory navigation inside of this vehicle. You can change up your heading view. So do you want to be in 2D, 3D, north of, etc. So there, full pinch to zoom capabilities, and it is very, very responsive, centering it back on yourself. And home from there. If you had your home address set up, you'd be able to tap the home icon in order for it to navigate you back home. And then you've got your phone. Setting up a phone inside of the G Wagon is a very straightforward process. Going to start off on the iPhone side of things. So all you're going to do, tap into your phone there. If your device was connected, it would show up, but no device is connected. So let's just tap connected device. On your phone, you're looking for MBUX or whatever your name is there. There we go. We've got the iPhone showing up. And PIN numbers there match up. So let's go ahead and pair. Now it's asking, do you want me to allow contacts and favorites to sync up? This is not my car, so I'm going to say no there. And I'm set to go. So I'd be able to stop right now. I'm connected over Bluetooth, so I can make phone calls and stream audio this way. You do have wireless Apple CarPlay support inside of this vehicle. It's backwards compatible. You can use the USB-C port in the armrest or just underneath the screen, but it's got wireless support, so you may as well use CarPlay. And look at that, we are fully connected right now. So you can see along the outside here, you've got some basic icons. You've got your time, connection, and battery level. These are the apps that were last open. So your last open map, whether that's Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze, etc. Your last open audio application, miscellaneous app, and then you can tap this in order to go to this home screen or back to this screen instead. And you can also freely swipe as necessary. And it is very responsive here, which is great. This CarPlay screen is locked into place, so there's no way that you can customize it. But I mean, you see there, as we jump between different apps, you'll have different options available here. You'll always have the audio box, whatever map was open last, and then your search box there too. If you can't even get to this step because CarPlay is not working for you, check down in the description of this video for a walkthrough on some common CarPlay fixes that you can try. When you've got your phone connected, you've got this little button along the steering wheel here, so that's your voice command prompt. If you were to just tap it, that would be the assistant for the vehicle, so it's your Mercedes assistant. But if you take that same button there, if you do a long push and hold, that is going to bring up your Siri assistant. You've got a little bit of flexibility too with the icon layout and even the look. So if you jump into your settings for a second here, you can toggle on driving focus. You've got wallpaper that's available there too. So if there's a color scheme that works better for you, maybe you like something a little bit more wild, you've got the flexibility of being able to change up your background if you'd like to. Apple Maps, Google Maps, and Waze don't have pinch to zoom capabilities as of right now. So I believe the new iOS should give you pinch to zoom capabilities. I'm personally a big fan for maps on using Waze. Now, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but at the end of the day, it's pretty solid because if there are speed traps set up, if there are crashes, hazards, things like that, people are pretty good at marking that off. And you can mark things off yourself. So if you notice a speed trap and things like that, you can give other drivers a heads up. You've got YouTube Music that's available, so strictly YouTube Music. Apple CarPlay doesn't support YouTube video playback as of yet. Hoopla is a library app, Live One's a radio app. You've got all your podcasts that are available on top of that. If you wanted to customize the layout of the icons, you can do that. On your phone, all you're going to do is jump into your settings, go to General, and then CarPlay. From there, you're just going to find your vehicle and connect. You can forget it, or you can customize it. So you can see all of the available icons. So maybe you wanted to have YouTube music along the very top, just push and hold and drag it in order to bring it to the top. If you had a map application you wanted to use, you can adjust that too. Anything with a minus next to it, you can actually remove it from the screen. So it removes it, but it saves it along the bottom of the phone, so you can add it back in if you'd like to. If you've played around with the layout too much though, and you don't like what you've done, along the top right side of the phone, there's a reset option. So you just tap Reset, Reset, and that's just going to bring the icon back to the factory default layout screen. You can tap here to get back to the home screen. You can tap CarPlay along the very top to get back into CarPlay. And then along the very bottom, you can either tap into CarPlay there, or you tap this to get to all of your available devices if there were multiple connected. You can easily disconnect from CarPlay by clicking off the CarPlay icon. You can look here to delete or disconnect on top of that. But that's how you set up Apple devices inside of the G Wagon. Setting up Android devices inside of the G Wagon is a very straightforward process. If you weren't on the screen, if you were back home, you'd have this little swap icon that you could tap, and we've got the iPhone connected right now. All you're going to do to set up a new device is just connect a new device. Let's disconnect from the old one. And there we go. We've got the Galaxy popping up there. Pin numbers match up, so let's go ahead and pair. And we're connecting over Bluetooth right now, so you can stop here. You're connected for phone calls and for media for Bluetooth. You do also have wireless Android Auto support that's backwards compatible, so you'd be able to use a USB-C cable and either plug in the armrest or down the center stack by the wireless charge pad. But before we connect here, on the phone it's asking, do I want to allow access to contacts and messages? This is not my car, so I'm saying no to that one. And we've got support for wireless Android Auto, so let's go ahead, accept and start. It'll take a second there in order to launch in. And on my phone, do I want to allow access to Android Auto? Yes. And we are fully connected to Android Auto right now. You can see your current time, connection, and battery level along the side, and then you've got a series of different icons here. You can push and hold the voice command prompt on the steering wheel in order to be able to launch into your assistant that way. And then you've got your little icon here. You've got a series of different icons that are available, but if Waze is installed on your Android device and it's not showing up, check down in the description of this video. I've got a little walkthrough with some things that you can try in order to get Waze working on Android Auto. Tapping back home here gives you back to this icon view. You can tap the Google Maps icon here in order to go full screen and full pinch to zoom capabilities here. Recenter it back on yourself. Tapping back here is going to bring up your icon view again, and you've got the flexibility of customizing these icons out a little bit. In order to do it on your phone, you're just going to search for Android Auto, and then you're just going to look at your Android Auto settings. Once you're there, you're going to come up to this screen where you can just customize the launcher. Anything with a check mark next to it, you can remove it from the screen, but you can just do a drag and drop as well if you wanted to be able to change the icon layout. It's not dynamic, so in order for these changes to come into effect, go to the home screen. From there, all you're going to do, go into your phone and swap. You're going to disconnect from Android Auto. You're going to tap here in order to get back into the option of reconnecting to Android Auto. Once you're there, you can tap here, and you can see there, the changes that we've made here have now come into effect. You can tap on the home screen here to get back to the main homepage for the infotainment system, launch into your phone this way, or back into Android Auto along the very top that way instead. Back home, if you go into your phone for a second, swap devices brings you back up to this screen. You can either be hooked up to Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, not both of them simultaneously, but you can do a mix and match here if you'd like to. But just as a hypothetical, let's say if you wanted to have one phone connected for phone calls and one phone connected for media, you'd have the flexibility of being able to do that. Back home from there, if we go back into our phone and swap, you've got both phones connected there. So maybe you didn't want to have the one phone for phone calls, but one for phone, one for media. So you can do a mix and match this way. But like I said, either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, not both. You can tap the three dots here to disconnect, or if you wanted to, let's go delete the device and delete. Let's do the same here. Delete, and yes, and you're set to go. And it's that easy setting up Android and iPhone devices inside of the G Wagon. Moving back a level brings us back to this basic screen where you could look at your devices again, or back home, and you're set to go. From here, you've got radio, and then you've got additional media. So radio, if we look there, that's going to be all of our FM stations, SiriusXM, tune it in radio as necessary. So if you wanted to, you can save in a preset there. So you've got your star icon. So as you go to swipe across this way, you can see the star icon pop up. So you just tap in order to save it in as a favorite. You can search for stations this way. You'd be able to use your voice in order to change stations on top of that. You can click if you wanted to get the album artwork if it was available, but that's setting up presets inside of the vehicle. It's really simple. And then with your presets set up, so it's a mix there of FM and SiriusXM. But you can see all of the stations that you've set up. And you saw there, it's a mix of FM and SiriusXM. If you tap SiriusXM, that's going to bring you back up to the SiriusXM screen here. You can again tap in to any of the available options for the available artwork if it was there. Because this is SiriusXM, you can pause live radio if you'd like to. Along the very bottom of the screen here, you've got this option in order to look at all of your available channels. So you can see your channel list, things like that. Across one more to get to the option of muting out your audio there too if you'd like to. One more is going to bring up a boatload of different sound settings. You can set up your own custom sound profile if you'd like to. You can change up your equalizer information too, so your bass, mid-range, and treble. I personally found the bass cranked a few points with the treble up 1, tends to give pretty good audio. Like the basic audio, just if you don't adjust these, sounds really good. But if you want to fine-tune it that little bit more, what I'd recommend is play one of your favorite songs, and while that's playing, adjust this until it sounds perfect for you. You can adjust out the balance and fade, so do you want it front focused, rear focused, etc. Bring it back to the middle again. You've got different sound focus information too, so again, front versus back focused. Different options for your loudness, and then SiriusXM settings too. So you could select what city that you're in to get different alerts and things like that. Tune to start as you go to start the vehicle up, and all of your basic SiriusXM information. From there, you've got your icon along the very bottom in order to get back to your SiriusXM information there. If you were on FM for a second, you see there, yeah, so you've got your HD radio information. So that HD radio data is not going to be standard across the board, but some stations broadcast digitally, which just means a slightly clearer connection. You can change stations out that way, bring back up to all of your sound settings or basic settings for FM. So again, do you want that radio text showing, emergency warnings, and things like that? That's using your radio. Tune-in radio is available there too. But if we hop back home, you've also got media. So media is separate from radio. So you've got Bluetooth. So if your phone was connected or you had another Bluetooth device, Android Auto is there, online music if that was available, or you can go USB. And one cool thing about the USB is it's not only USB audio, but you've also got support for USB video. So if you wanted to watch videos while you're parked, you'd have the flexibility to be able to do it. I love that you've got that available as an option, and it supports a bunch of different options for USB. And as you saw there, mix of audio files and video files that are available for playback too. You can tap this in order to see everything that's available on the device. You can tap this to see your list done slightly different. And then along the very bottom there, you've got your options there for getting back into your basic audio settings there too. There are a series of different Mercedes apps that are available, and others too. So obviously with Amazon Music, Apple Music, things like that, you need to have an active plan with these things, but you've got even things like Sudoku. So if you just wanted to kill a little bit of time or you're waiting to pick somebody up, you've got that flexibility. I'm actually curious. Oh, that's kind of neat. Oh, Mercedes. Oh, I love it. So you can play some games while you're waiting as well. You've got the Mercedes store that's available here too. And this one, it looks like it's just going to be the dash cam. So one extra thing is there's going to be an integrated dash cam if you want to, yay, nay. You've got a series of different comfort settings that are available here. So you've got different massage chair options that are available. So hot, shoulder, massaging, things like that, etc. So as we go into any of these options, you can set it up for either the driver or for the passenger seat if you'd like. Got some different options for your seat. So options for the kinetics, different options for the lumbar support. So you can really fine tune the lumbar support for you to make it perfect. I love that you've got that additional customization option. But I think it's neat that you've got the option of adjusting out the lumbar for each person, and same thing with your side bolsters. What do you want it to feel like? So how much does it hug your body? So useful if you're going to be doing sportier driving, off-road driving, etc. Different options for your heat. So your heating balance, do you want it focused a little bit more on the upper part of the cushion, the lower part, etc.? And that's the same thing for the driver and for the passenger side. So you can really fine tune and dial these settings in, or you can reset it back to 0 again. There's ambient lighting available inside the vehicle and 64 individual colors that are available. So if you wanted to really customize this out in order to make something that's a little bit better for you, to speak to you, you've got the flexibility of being able to adjust it out, as well as doing something multicolor, which looks really, really good at nighttime. You can adjust up the brightness here. You can link the zones as necessary. You can add in different driving effects too. So as you go to approach the vehicle, when you're charging up, it's going to kind of pulse at you as well. It is really, really neat looking at nighttime. And there's your energizing comfort with a few different options there. So it just gives you like a nice relaxing experience. You can button push here in order to turn on that comfort setting, or tap this in order to get into your ambient light. There's a dedicated off-road mode here too, so your off-road cockpit. You can start recording if you're going off pavement. You can turn your sensing system on, off, etc. You can tap this in order to see your trail camera with that underview. So again, useful if you're going off pavement. You can see what's going on around you and what's going on underneath the vehicle there too. You can see what's going on with the suspension system, tire pressure, etc. So you can kind of move out to each individual position. As you start to drive, it's going to show you different elements there, including your vehicle pitch, roll, your steering angle, things like that. So everything is shown inside of the screen, and you can customize one side. So maybe you wanted to know your, I think probably your tire pressure would make the most sense there. So tire temperature, pressures, etc. with your suspension. You can see your current elevation on top of that. Different tracks if they were available, and then you can explore. Yeah, that makes sense. So no tracks available in the vicinity, but if there were, it would essentially show you where you can go. Really neat. Turning off your system there, or you can tap this in order to get back to that down camera. Shooting across, you've got info with basics. So obviously this is the EV, which is why we've got this set up there. You can see what's going on with your battery power. Basic vehicle settings there too. So you've got your vehicle pitch and roll. Doesn't show you, oh yeah, it does. Shows you your turning angle on top of that. So as we go between all of the different modes, your comfort mode, trail mode, rock mode, etc., it changes up the look there. Wouldn't be nice to see some more options, so some basic customization options, because just along the very bottom there, it shows you what drive mode that you're in, but I'd like to see something a little bit more aggressive with the display there. But I mean, still, that looks solid all around. Again, like useful as you're going off pavement. But for the most part there, you're just going to be in your basic comfort driving, unless you want really good performance, in which case Sport is going to unlock all of the potential. There are a bunch of different vehicle settings available. I'll touch on that one last. And then you've got your device screen there too. So if you've got different devices that are connected, you wanted to set up new phones, things like that, that's where you're going to make it happen. You can swap out devices from there. So I guess at that point then, we've got all of the settings. You can tap here in order to toggle the display off, or you can turn the whole system off. So if you wanted kind of just like this nice relaxing screen, you've got that available with just a tap to turn it back on again. Launching into your settings, you've got a lot of different options available. Starting off with driving, you've got your active distronics. So you've got your adaptive cruise control system, but it can also adapt to the speed limit. So if you've got adaptive cruise control turned on and the speed goes from, let's say, 60 down to 50, it can automatically decrease your speed. If it goes from 50 up to 70, it can automatically increase your speed there too. Then there's also steering assist. So as long as the vehicle recognizes the lane markings, it's going to go green, and that lets you know that the system is active. The car's not self-driving, but if you lose focus for a brief second, you're rubbernecking, it's going to take you around a bend, keeping the vehicle perfectly balanced in your lane. It is a beautiful system, but you can toggle it off if that one drives you crazy. And that's the same thing with a lot of these other safety systems, so collision avoidance, things like that. Active brake assist, if you're potentially going to get into a collision, it can actively brake for you, but how quickly before it starts to brake for you. Lane keeping assist, if that's available, you're going to see these go green. And what that means is that if you start to veer over into another lane without signaling, it can nudge you back into your lane. So you can select different things there. Do you want it happening, yay or nay? And then there's also your blind spot assist there too. So with your blind spot system turned on or off, if somebody enters the blind spot on either side of the vehicle, see there, that little triangle, that's going to highlight red, letting you know that there's somebody in your blind spot. For assistance, you've got traffic sign assist available here. So do you want to get a speed warning, yay or nay, visual or a tone if you're going a little bit too fast? Do you want to get your traffic view? Yes or no? And then there's also attention assist, which just make sure that you're actively paying attention. So where this one comes into play is if you start to veer over too many times without the signaling, looking drowsy, etc., eventually the vehicle is going to tell you that you should probably take a break. Basic options for camera, nothing exciting. There's some parking options there too. So you've got different warning tones and volumes, etc. So the beeping that you get. Audio fade out. So if you've got your audio cranked, the beeping starts. It's going to slightly lower the audio for you to hear what's going on. Time of warning. Do you want to get warnings yay, nay, front, rear, etc.? Then maneuvering assistance. Let's see. Cross traffic. If you're going to back up and somebody's coming perpendicular, so from their left or the right side, it's going to let you know of a potential collision. And then it can also brake for you. So if you're backing up and it's potentially going to get into a collision, it's something you don't see, it can automatically brake for you. You've got some basic vehicle settings here for driving. Do you want to get your G-Roar sound? So the sound for G-Roar, it's a fake sound, obviously, but it's kind of neat that's available. If you were in the regular gas version, that wouldn't be there, but this is the electric, which is why we've got that fake sound. You can also turn the vehicle into car wash mode. Basic comfort settings, easy entry and exit with your steering wheel position. So do you want that toggled on, yay or nay? So what that means is that when you go to turn the vehicle off, it's going to push the steering wheel forward in order for you to be able to get in and out of the vehicle a little bit easier. Occupant protection as well, with a reminder. So if you've opened up the second row doors, you go to turn the vehicle off, it's going to remind you to check the back seat to make sure that you haven't forgotten somebody. And then belt adjustment, if the seat senses that there's weight on it, yes or no, are those people plugged in? Let's see, open and close. So there's going to be doors, things like that. Do you want to get vehicle protection? So there's a series of interior sensors available. So if the vehicle recognizes something's going on, that alarm is going to sound. And then there's also tow away protection there too. So if you've got that turned on with the vehicle locked, somebody goes to try to tow it away, it's going to turn on that outside alarm. There's an acoustic lock. So do you want to get a notification when you've locked the vehicle? Yay, nay. And then do you want your side view mirrors automatically fold again? Dynamic select. When you go to start the vehicle up, if you've been in different drive modes outside of comfort, it's going to ask you, do you want to go back to that old drive mode that you were in? With your individual drive modes, we saw that little selector switch earlier. So when you go into the individual mode there, you've got the flexibility of setting this up. So with your individual mode, what do you want your drive to be like? Comfort versus sport? Do you want your suspension to be sport or trail? Steering is another useful one too. So your comfort, think of just like your normal, just loosey-goosey day-to-day driving, versus sport really stiffens things up. So if you wanted to really customize that, you could. You've got all of the individual drive modes too. So if you wanted to kind of fine-tune it that little bit more. Different options for vehicle lighting. So your multi-beam LEDs, you've got your dynamic low light, interior, exterior lighting. Do you want to have that exterior light? Yay or nay? Useful, especially at nighttime. Interior light delay, so when you go to lock the vehicle, do the lights stay on, usually for about 15 seconds or so. And then the exterior lights, when you go to lock the vehicle, do the lights just turn off, or do they stay on for up to 60 seconds? Ambient light, which we've already seen. So again, you'll see getting into a few of these different settings a few different ways. You've got this available, so you can say, hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
And that's going to launch into your voice assistant where you can do things like change songs, radio stations, navigate using your voice. You can change climate using your voice and so many other things. There are direct commands that are available. You can get mute, unmute music, things like that. Displays, you can adjust the display brightness. So if you wanted it to be a little bit brighter, darker, etc., you can toggle the display on or off or toggle the whole system off. Then there's some basic graphics when you start the vehicle up. And the big one here is going to be your measurement units. So you've got either kilometers or miles. One of the benefits of it being a fully digital cluster screen is that when you adjust this out, it adjusts everything for you. You can adjust it the language, and there are so many different options available here. Adjust at the keyboard, nothing exciting. Control elements, do you want to get that feedback? Yes or no, so you can toggle that off. Your touch control, what do you want the sensitivity of the pad here to be? Or your pad down low. So do you want to get haptic feedback specifically on the pad here? So as you go to push, do you want to get physical feedback when you touch any of the buttons here? It's actually kind of useful getting that feedback because you know that you've clicked at that point. There are different options for audio. So these are going to be all of your different system volumes for your phone, voice, and things like that. Internet and Bluetooth. Do you want to manage internet access? Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, so you can toggle all of these systems off if you like. Basic information for data, so you can put in a system pin. One of the big benefits of adding in a pin is that you're essentially locking the system out, so people can't just look through the infotainment system. You can adjust it the date and time. You're going to be in the auto mode though the majority of the time. The only time I'd really recommend adjusting this is if you live somewhere where you straddle a time zone and it constantly flips you from one time zone to the next. So you'd be able to lock it in to any of the available time zones here. You can select your format. So do you want that 12 versus 24-hour mode, etc. as well. Adjust your time. Do you want to go for daylight savings time, automatic, or on versus off? Software updates, if they were available, would show up. There's a reset option available here too. So you can reset, and that's going to essentially remove everything from the vehicle. So it's going to wipe away any presets that you've set up, any addresses that you've set up, phones that you've connected, etc. There is a way to do a soft screen reboot. I'll show you in just a second. You've got basic information, well, all of your owner's manual information there too. So you can log into your owner's manual and see what's going on. So if this video didn't help out, you're getting weird messages in the cluster screen, etc. You can see what's going on with your owner's manual there and look through. But then I mentioned you've got the option of resetting. If the infotainment system's ever giving you problems, under System Reset, you'd be able to do a full factory reset. But the downside of doing a full factory reset is exactly that. It's a factory reset, which means it's going to get rid of everything that you've set up. What you actually want to do instead is a soft screen reboot. In order to do that soft screen reboot, just underneath the screen here, you've got your little volume rocker, so you can go up and down in order to adjust volume. But if you take that button, if you push and hold it, you're just going to keep on hanging on. So you've got this screen that pops up. Just keep on pushing that button, and eventually the screen turns off. So what we've done is we've entered a soft reboot cycle. It's the exact same thing as if you were to do a reset on your phone. So what we're doing is essentially clearing the cache. And that should solve the majority of issues that you're facing. So if there's anything wrong with the infotainment system, if Android Auto, Apple CarPlay aren't working, things like that, that's what you want to try first. So that should fix any issues that you're facing. If that doesn't do it, then your next option would be to go back into your vehicle settings, under your system, reset, and then just tap a reset there. So soft reboot first, full factory reset second, and then your third step, if that still doesn't fix it, would be to go into your Mercedes dealership for them to have a look and figure out what's going on. There's your off-road cockpit mode. So tapping that is going to bring you into your off-road screen. So you can see everything that's going on. There's a recorder that's available, toggling your sensing system on or off. And then this one, watch this, look at that. If you're doing more technical driving, rock crawling, things like that, you can kind of see what's going on underneath the vehicle. In order to get yourself into the G-turn mode here, what you're going to do, drop down into the rock mode. You have to activate rock mode for this to work. From here, you want to shift yourself into low range. Once you're there, drop yourself into neutral, lightly push up, and then push the button there to do it. And all you have to do from here, put yourself into drive, and look at that. You're just going to either push and hold the right paddle or the left paddle, depending on if you want to turn to the left or the right, and then down from there, you've got your climate control settings, which physical buttons, which are great. Up and down this way, you can pull up your climate control menu as well. So your basic climate control settings there. And then you've got your auto mode. So what that means is that vehicle is going to determine what's going on with your climate. You've got all of your defrosters, circulation as well. Down from there, you've got your little slidable tray. I love this. Oh, my carbon fiber. Beautiful. Wireless charge pad is there, with some cup holders that also features either heating or cooling. So if you have a hot drink, cold drink, etc., you've got your dynamic selector this way. And if you wanted to move between all of your different drive modes, you've got that flexibility. You're going to be in the, I'd say, comfort mode the majority of the time. Sport mode if you want the best possible performance in the vehicle, and then trail and rock if you're going off pavement. Your button here in order to pull up your 360 camera. And then I mentioned you've also got Park Assist available there too. Now, if you want to walk through and actually using Park Assist, check down in the description of this video. I show off how you can use the Park Assist system. From there, you can tap this in order to get to your basic function mode there too. So your functions, car wash mode, Parktronic, etc. So it's essentially going to be an option outside of your favorites. So if you wanted to move into individual settings there, you've got that flexibility. You've got your favorite button instead, so you've either got your different functions or your favorite screen. Your volume rockers there as well. Push in the middle once in order to be able to mute audio, or push again or slide in order to adjust it that way. You can button push here in order to get to your map. Button push to get to your radio, different media options there too. And then your electric view if you've got the EQ version. So if you've got the electric G Wagon, outside of that, that setting wouldn't be there. Armrest here has another USB power point down there too. There's no place to store your sunglasses here, so I'm just kind of dropping them here. That's one thing I'd like to see, a sunglasses holder somewhere. Not sure where they would fit it though. So I'll show you up overhead in a second, but I mean, look at the highlights. More carbon fiber. That blue stitching that follows all the way through it because of this Edition 1. Glovebox here is fully lockable using the mechanical key. Decent amount of space inside of that box. Got the little grab handle here. Up overhead, auto-dimming rear view mirror with home link system. So if you've got a garage door opener at home, you can program that in. From there, there's also a little control here for your sunroof. I mean, it just opens things up so nicely. I love that. So it's not full panoramic, but still, it's nice that that's available. Another speaker here. You've got basic controls for your cabin lights there too. There's a suede headliner with a visor that has the vanity mirror with lights built in. Get that right spot. And then this little feller does not stretch out. Oh, that's one thing. So you're going to get a little bit of sun hitting your face there, depending on how far forward or backwards you sit, but it's not terrible. I would like to see that completed or being able to stretch though. The visibility that you get inside of the G Wagon is excellent. Yeah, no complaints there whatsoever. And I like that. Look, you can see the ambient light everywhere. Oh, that's beautiful. All right. Second row of the G Wagon. No door shades whatsoever, so I would like to see some sunshades. You've got controls for the window though, if you'd like. Heated second row seats there with a speaker and your handle with some door storage there too. Space-wise, so I've got the driver's seat set up for myself, being 6 feet tall. And look at that, squirrel, all of the ambient light, I love it. So I've got the driver's seat set up for myself being 6 feet tall. I've got some foot space, got some knee space, and head space is actually pretty good. Like, that is ridiculous. And like, it's the same amount of space in the first row. You're like 4.5, 5+ inches of head space. For taller people, you should be okay in the back here, just depending on how tall the driver is. But yeah, like I said, plenty spacious. There's no real hump, like a tiny little one in the middle there. So you could fit 3 full-size adults in the back here if you need to. Pretty easily. Got a little map pocket in the back there, driver passenger side. You've got all of your climate control settings for the second row here too. And then down low, 2 USB Type-C power points with another 12 volt in the back there. Up overhead, you've got a little handle, hook, and a light. Got your little clothing hook there too, with a speaker over top that has some ambient lighting. Again, ambient lights everywhere. And then it's the same setup along the sides. You've got your little handle, hook, and a light there too. The rear end of the G Wagon is amazing, and it makes me look so small in comparison. This is a massive vehicle. You're gonna find LED lights inside of the G Wagon, and they're a little bit lower mounted than I'd like, but still they're easy enough to see. From a technology perspective, absolutely loaded. You're gonna find the reverse park sensing system. There's a backup camera, and then the rear wiper is there too. Towing inside of the G Wagon is possible. Doesn't matter which version of the vehicle that you're in, you're maxing out at 3,500 kilograms or about 7,700 pounds, which is incredible. And here's the thing, whether you're in the electric version or if you're in one of the gas versions, the more you tow, the worse your range or your fuel economy is going to get. It's the same way with every vehicle, but electrics take a little bit more of a hit in comparison. But still, 7,700 pounds is solid. You got this little box in the back here, which is going to be part of the Edition 1 package, and you can go aftermarket with it too. But one cool thing is that if you don't have the key fob on you, this is actually locked. And swinging it out, Great amount of storage space here, but I'm using it right now for the charge cable. So there is a 20-foot charge cable right from the factory, level 1 support, but I'll touch on charging in just a second. Opening up the trunk door is pretty simple. So the button in the back there, just gonna give it a little bit of pressure and swing. And this is what, so this one, because it's the edition one, it's got blue stitching everywhere and even some blue carbon fiber highlights, which I love the look of. That inside of the trunk here, along the right-hand side, there's a little cargo net and a little light. Along the left-hand side, there's a little woofer in the back and then an upper 12-volt power point next to that light. There is a little slidable cargo protector in the back here too. It's spring-loaded. So you can easily, as I struggle, you can easily remove it if you need to. You've got this little rubberized tray in the back, which is useful if you're the type of person to get a bit messy. And then there's also a little pass-through in the back here. So if you need to get skis and things like that in here, you've got that available as an option. Folding down the second row seats inside of the G Wagon is a manual process, and you have to do it from the second row. There are no releases from the trunk. There's a strap along the side of the seat. You're gonna lift that up in order to lift the cushion, and then there's a little tab along the side. You're gonna lift that in order to drop down to give yourself a very flat fold. You don't have to lift up the seat. It's just that if you want a flatter fold, that's what you're gonna do to make it happen. But a solid amount of space inside of the boot of the vehicle. And the trunk dimensions that you're looking at here, the ones behind the first row for me go from right where that trunk door would close to just in behind where that seat cushion would sit. So you might gain or lose a little bit of extra space if you don't fold the seat flat down, if you've got your seats forwards or backwards a little bit more, etc. But it is very spacious inside of the trunk of the G Wagon. Charging for the electrified G Wagon is done along the passenger side. It's got support for level 1, level 2, and for level 3 DC supercharging. I did mention that there's a 20-foot charge cable that comes right from the factory. Level 1 charge, so it does take quite a little bit to charge it up if you're just using a regular wall plug. But whether or not you need a level 2 charge station is going to depend on your driving habits, because if you're only driving 20, 30 miles a day, you'd be fine with a level 1 charger. But if you're going 100 miles or like 100, 150 kilometers a day, it's probably going to be worth investing into a level 2 charge station. The battery inside of the electrified version is 116 kilowatt. It's got an approximate range of about 385 kilometers or 239 miles, which is actually still pretty solid. I would like to see that number improved a little bit, because in wintertime driving, if you're in northern states or in Canada like me, when it gets cold, EVs take a pretty big hit to their overall range. So you're looking at about a 20% haircut. On top of that, it's going to take about 20% longer for you to charge the vehicle up too. So that's something you have to consider. And again, you might have to look at that level 2 charge station, especially for wintertime driving, if you're in northern states or in Canada. Overall, I am going to give the G Wagon this. So this is the electrified version of the car, which means that it's got a ridiculous amount of instant torque. Like, you put your foot down and you are absolutely flying inside of this car. SUV, wagon, let's call it whatever we want to at this point, but it is an absolute blast. You sit incredibly high up. You feel like a boss when driving this thing. Like, there's no better way for me to put it. It's my first time ever actually being in a G Wagon, but I understand why people really, really like this vehicle. This is absurd. Obviously, with it being the electrified version, that's why there's so much power inside of it. But like, you're not disappointed either way. Like, even if you look at one of the regular gas versions of the G Wagon, some moderate handling here. Look at that beautiful fall colors. It's so good. It's so good. It handles so well. And up to speed. Oh, I love it. It's absolutely zero complaints there. Getting up to speed was great. And I will absolutely give the G Wagon this. It is incredibly quiet in the cabin of this vehicle. Like, you hear like the tiniest little bit along the driver's side door seam, but outside of that, It's incredibly quiet inside of this vehicle. Like, I am shocked. And that was everything you needed to know about the G Wagon. An absolute beast of a ride loaded with technology at a very premium price point. Where you can find all of the build details for this G Wagon down in the description, with links off to Mercedes Canada and USA. But if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone if you think they might find it helpful. And until I see you next time, take care.